What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now it's time for Ego to take y'all to boxing school. Now, I've talked about this before previously, and obviously, as the sport grows and time elapses, sometimes opinions change. But one opinion that I've had has pretty much remained the same, and it's even more so now. And I always told you guys that Sergey Kovalev would give Adonis Stevenson problems. And I think he would probably body him. Some of you guys didn't believe me. I even did a poll. I said, is Adonis Stevenson ducking Sergey Kovalev? What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So sometimes on my channel, I just feel like Roy Jones Jr., and y'all must have forgot. So that's why I played that. I've been telling y'all that Adonis Stevenson wants no parts of Sergey Kovalev. You look at the dates. Dates don't lie. I can't change this. I can't fake this. That video, I did a poll in 2013, and I've been telling you guys this. I think it's pretty apparent now that Adonis Stevenson didn't want Sergey Kovalev as an opponent for whatever reason. And it's a shame because that could have been a good fight as well. And the reason I say it's apparent because Bernard Hopkins is doing the unthinkable and challenging a man that is over 10 years his junior and a dangerous, lethal puncher in Sergey Kovalev. So in case you guys haven't heard, Dan Rayfield, ESPN, reported, it's all over the internet, Bernard Hopkins, it looks like he's in line to face Sergey Kovalev as long as Sergey Kovalev can win his next fight, which is on the fight card tomorrow. So Blake Caparello is on the Brandon Rios, Diego Chavez card. So I'm very excited for boxing. Great night of boxing. You have Brandon Rios making a comeback after a long layoff against a good opponent in Diego Chavez. You got Blake Caparello and Sergey Kovalev, and also Shane Mosley Jr., Shane Mosley's son. So really looking forward to boxing. As far as Bernard Hopkins versus Sergey Kovalev, all I can say is Bernard Hopkins is tremendous. To be pushing 50 years old and pushing yourself to these outer limits where other people are getting knocked out. Like, you look at other people who were younger than him. Like, look at, rest in peace, Arturo Gotti's last fight, I think with Alfonso Gomez. Look at how he looked, and he wasn't even 50. Look at Kermit Cintron. Look at these different aging fighters. Carlos Baldemir. They threw him in there with Canelo, and Canelo stretched him. Then you have Bernard Hopkins, who just defies all odds and is age-defying. He's like a fucking vampire. He's the alien, and he's taking these young boys to school. So you got to give tremendous props to not only Bernard Hopkins, but definitely Bernard Hopkins, and also Sergey Kovalev. Looks like Kovalev wants to fight the best. They're giving him whoever's willing to step up and face him. The Agnews, the Capriellos. He wants to fight the big fights. Now, I don't know. Kovalev always wanted to take the Bernard Hopkins fight, but I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to dredge up old stuff. If the fight is to happen now, I'm all aboard, all for it, and I think it's a hell of a fight. And it's what we should see in boxing. I did a video about Miguel Cotto possibly facing Andy Lee. Bullshit fight. Broner and Manuel Taylor, that's a bullshit fight. Rod Salka, Danny Garcia, bullshit fight. Manny Pacquiao, Chris Algieri, bullshit fight. And not saying any of these fights can't be entertaining or the underdog can't pull the upset. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying you got a lot of fighters where the opponent selected is cutting in line from a lot of more deserving opponents in that division. Then you got Bernard Hopkins, Sergey Kovalev. This is a unification bout that absolutely should be happening. And it should be a complete and utter embarrassment to Adonis Stevenson to have someone who's old enough to be his fucking dad and he's willing to put it all on the line. Bernard Hopkins is going to potentially face, as long as everything goes cool, everything's on the up and up, face a guy who's full capable of knocking him out or stopping him, TKOing him at least. Because Bernard Hopkins, I've told you time and time again, he has an underrated chin. But he's going in there against a guy that's lethal. Sergey Kovalev literally fought a guy, and the guy died after the fight. He died. He killed a man from combat. So this dude is no joke. I think Sergey Kovalev has boxing ability. He's not just like a Ruslan Provodnikov, someone who just wants to get punched 1,000 times. I'm not saying he has the best defense, but he's more of a polished boxer than a guy like Ruslan or Brandon Rios. He's not just gonna come at you like a wrecking ball and whoever wins the battle of attrition wins. The dude is more calculated than that. And there's actually interviews floating around the internet where different opponents have fought, like the Sergey Kovalevs and different fighters in his division, and they say Kovalev is the goods. He's real legit. You know what I mean? So for Bernard Hopkins to be fighting Kovalev or willing to fight him for unification proves he wants to be great. He already is great, but this would be a hell of a stamp on his legacy, and you have no choice but to give it up and praise him for daring to even do this. Because again, Kovalev is an undefeated, dangerous guy with the belt. So it's a unification fight. It's a fight that I think fans would like to see. It's also a good contrast to style. You got Sergey Kovalev, if he fights Bernard Hopkins, way different animal. Because again, Bernard Hopkins has a chin. He has more big fight experience. And he has, I would say, sneaky power. He doesn't have like one punch, I'll fuck you up and destroy you power. But he has sneaky power. You've seen that in his last fight with Shumenov. He dropped him. And Shumenov looks pretty tough. So this is a good fight, man. This is a fight that I'm really anxious to see. And I salute the alien Bernard Hopkins as well as Sergey Kovalev for making the fight. And I think it's Adonis Stevenson. He should delete his Instagram and just be hiding somewhere, because I told you he was ducking Kovalev. And I think this is an indication of that, because Bernard Hopkins, who's a partner with Golden Boy, made the fight happen with main events. A lot of people are like, oh, Adonis Stevenson can't fight, there's HBO and Showtime. But somehow, some way, a main events fighter, Sergey Kovalev, and Bernard Hopkins are linked to fight as long as Kovalev can get past his next opponent, Blake Capriello. And the guy has 6 knockouts, and I know it's not all about knockouts, but I really didn't see anything from my research that suggests that Kovalev will lose his next fight tomorrow. So it looks like we're going to get in November Bernard Hopkins versus Sergey Kovalev. So salute to both fighters. Leave your early predictions as soon as it's a little bit clearer, like all the details. Make sure it's not at a catch weight or anything like that. Make sure it's actually going on. I will give an actual prediction, and I think it's a hell of a fight, and it's a dangerous fight for both. Dangerous for Bernard Hopkins, as I mentioned earlier, because Kovalev is lethal. He's dangerous. He has good, probably underrated boxing ability, and he has power. He has power to, and in my opinion, I think he's more powerful per his division than Triple G is. Triple G has power as well, but I think I interviewed Curtis Stevens, and I have to agree with him. I think Triple G's power is shocking for his division. It's great power. There's no denying it, but it's more of a break you down, wear you down power. Look at guys' faces when they get clapped by Kovalev shots versus Triple G. Now, I'm not downing Triple G's power or anything about it. I'm just telling you, I think Kovalev is more of a forceful puncher. Like, I mean, I've seen him, like his what was his last fight? When he fought on the same card as Adonis Stevenson, when they fought back to back. His opponent, Ishmael Salak or whatnot, he looked out of it. Like he didn't look like he knew where he was. Like it was that bad. You know what I mean? Daniel Gill got punched by Triple G, and he's tough, but he knew where it looked like he knew where he was. He just didn't want to like continue. You know what I mean? Curtis Stevens, he knew where he was. He just didn't want to continue. He didn't want to deal with it. So different types of power, in my opinion. Dangerous for Kovalev because you're in there with a guy that knows all the tricks. He knows boxing. He is the sweet science. He's a wizard. He knows how to make you miss. He knows how to make you look dumb. He knows how to do dirty veteran tricks that don't get called. Just coming in with his